The stars looked peaceful that morning when Hyunwoo Park stepped into the Global Defense Command Center. The large screens on the walls showed Earth's defense ships moving in their usual patterns around the planet. Everything seemed normal, but Hyunwoo knew that today would change everything. "Commander Park, we have a problem," said Soo-Jin Lee as she walked up to him. Her face was pale and worried. She held a data pad in her shaking hands. "Our long-range sensors are picking up something big coming toward us." Hyunwoo took the data and looked at the numbers. His eyes went wide. More than 10,000 ships were moving toward Earth from deep space. The fleet was huge, bigger than anything humans had ever seen before. Ships from different alien races were flying together, all heading for Earth. "How long do we have?" Hyunwoo asked. "At their current speed, they will reach Earth in 3 days, Soo-Jin said. "Sir, there are so many of them. Our defense fleet only has 200 ships. We cannot fight against 10,000. Hyunwoo nodded slowly. He had been waiting for this day for 20 years. Every person in the command center had trained for this moment. But seeing it actually happen still felt strange and scary. The alien fleet was led by Admiral Vextar of the Saurian Empire. The Saurians looked like giant lizards that walked on 2 legs. They had sharp teeth and cold yellow eyes. They were known across the galaxy for being cruel and violent. Vextar had destroyed many worlds before. He thought Earth would be easy. In space, Admiral Vextar stood on the bridge of his massive warship. The ship was 5 kilometers long and covered with weapons. Around him, other alien commanders from different races were talking excitedly. They all agreed that humans would surrender quickly. "These humans are new to space," said Commander Trill, a blue-skinned alien with 4 arms. "They have only been traveling between stars for 50 years. Their weapons are still based on chemical explosions. Very primitive." "Yes," agreed General Mortuck, whose species looked like walking rocks. "Our intelligence reports show they only have basic laser weapons and metal projectiles. Our shields can stop such weak attacks easily." Admiral Vextar smiled, showing his sharp teeth. "This will be over quickly. The humans will see our fleet and surrender. If they don't, we will destroy their cities one by one until they do." Other commanders laughed. They had done this many times before. Young species always tried to resist at first, but they always gave up when they saw the coalition's power. On Earth, President Jin-Ho Kim sat in his office reading reports from around the world. Every government leader knew what was coming. They had all agreed on what to do years ago. Now it was time to see if their plan would work. His secretary, Min-Ho Sun, came into the office. "Mr. President, the alien fleet is sending us a message." Jin-Ho nodded. "Put it on the main screen." The wall screen turned on and showed Admiral Vexatar's cold face. When the alien spoke, his voice was deep and threatening. "Humans of Earth," Vextar said. "I am Admiral Vextar of the Galactic Coalition. Your species has expanded too quickly into space. You have not asked permission from the older races. This cannot be allowed." Jin-Ho listened calmly. He had heard similar messages from other alien races who had tried to bully humans before. "You have one choice," Vexatar continued. "Surrender now and become servants of the Coalition. Your leaders will be removed. Your military will be destroyed. Your people will work for us. If you agree, we will let most of you live." "And if we refuse?" Jin-Ho asked, speaking toward the camera. Vextar's smile became wider and more cruel. "Then we will show you what happened to the last species that refused us." The screen changed to show a dead world. Where cities should have been, there were only glass craters. The oceans had been boiled away. Nothing lived on the planet's surface. It was completely empty and lifeless. "The Kalari people thought they could fight us too," Vextar said. "They had a proud military and strong defenses. It did not matter. This is what is left of their homeworld. This is what Earth will look like if you choose to resist." More images appeared. Destroyed cities, burned forests, empty worlds where millions had once lived. Each image was meant to make humans afraid. "You have 24 hours to decide," Vextar said. "Surrender or be destroyed, those are your only choices." The screen went black. Jin-Ho sat quietly for a moment, then smiled slightly. "Sir?" Min-Ho asked. "What should we tell them?" "Send a simple message," Jin-Ho said. "Tell them we decline their offer." Min-Ho looked shocked. "Sir, are you sure? They have 10,000 ships. We only have 200. Jin-Ho stood up and walked to the window. He could see the city of Seoul, below full of people living normal lives. Children were playing in parks. Adults were going to work. They all trusted their leaders to protect them. "Min-Ho," Jin-Ho said softly. "Do you really think we only have 200 ships?" Before Min-Ho could answer, Jin-Ho's phone rang. It was Dr. Hye-Jin Choi, the head of Earth's secret research programs. "Mr. President," she said, "everything is ready. All systems are in position. We have been preparing for this day for a very long time." "How long do you need?" Jin-Ho asked. "Give me 48 hours after they start their attack," Dr. Choi said. "Let them think they are winning. Let them get confident. Then we will show them what Earth can really do." Jin-Ho nodded. "Understood. Begin Phase 1. Around the world, secret messages were sent to military bases hidden underground. For decades, humans had been building weapons and defenses that no alien race knew about. Projects that broke the normal laws of physics, technologies that should have been impossible. In a laboratory deep under the mountains of Switzerland, Dr. Taemin Yoon looked at the massive machines his team had built. They had worked for 20 years to create these devices. Now they would finally be used. "Are you ready?" asked Dr. Sora Kim, his assistant. "As ready as we can be," Taemin said. "The gravitational field generators are at full power. The quantum, tunneling devices are online. The stellar manipulation arrays are standing by. The aliens think we are primitive," Sora said. Taemin smiled. "Let them keep thinking that. It will make this easier." In space, the coalition fleet continued moving toward Earth. The alien commanders were in a good mood. They expected an easy victory and rich rewards from conquering a new world. Admiral Vexitar received Earth's response and laughed when he read it. "They decline? These foolish humans actually think they can fight us?" "Should we begin the bombardment now, sir?" asked his weapons officer. "No," Vexitar said. "Let them see our full power first. I want them to understand how hopeless their situation is. Attack their outer colonies first. Show them what happens to humans who resist us." The coalition fleet split into smaller groups. Some ships headed for Mars, where humans had a mining colony. Others went to the asteroid belt where human workers collected metals and minerals. A third group flew toward Jupiter to destroy the research stations orbiting the giant planet. On Earth, Commander Dong-Hyun Kang received his orders. He was told to take the defense fleet out to fight the aliens. His ships were smaller and weaker than the alien vessels. Everyone expected them to lose quickly. "Sir," said his navigation officer, "are you sure about this? We cannot win against so many enemies." "Just follow orders," Dong-Hyun said quietly. "Everything will work out." As the human defense fleet left Earth's orbit, people around the world watched on television. The news reporters talked about humanity's brave last stand. Many people were crying. They thought they were watching their protectors fly away to die. But in the hidden command centers, military leaders were smiling. Phase 1 was beginning exactly as planned. Dr. Hye-Jin Choi watched the alien fleet on her secret monitors. Her instruments could see things that normal sensors could not detect. She knew exactly where every enemy ship was and what weapons they carried. "Begin recording everything," she told her team. "We need to learn how their technology works. When this is over, we will have some improvements to make to our own systems." The first battle was about to begin. The aliens expected an easy victory against primitive humans. The humans looked worried and unprepared, but appearances can be deceiving. Deep under Earth's surface, massive machines hummed with power. Weapons that had never been tested were coming online. Defenses that should not have been possible were activating. Admiral Vexitar looked at his fleet with pride. 10,000 ships from 12 different races, all working together to crush the upstart humans. It would be a glorious victory. He had No idea that Earth had been preparing for this moment for over 400 years. The humans had known the aliens were coming long before they arrived. Every ship, every weapon, every defense had been planned and built specifically for this war. The calm before the storm was ending. Soon, the galaxy would learn that humans were not as helpless as they appeared. But first, Earth needed to let the aliens think they were winning. The real war was about to begin. The Coalition's attack began at dawn. Admiral Vexistar wanted Earth to see the destruction of their colonies in the morning light, when the most people would be awake and watching. Mars Base 1 was the first target. Home to 50,000 human colonists, it was humanity's largest settlement outside Earth. The base had factories, farms, and research centers. Families lived there, building a new life on the Red Planet. Commander Yeltar led the attack squadron with 200 Coalition ships. They approached Mars slowly, wanting the humans to see them coming. Fear was as important as firepower in breaking a species' will to fight. Mars Base, this is Commander Yeltar of the Coalition Fleet, he broadcast. You have 5 minutes to evacuate all military personnel. Civilians will be spared if you comply immediately. The response came from Base Commander Sung-Ho Lee. His voice was calm and steady. This is Mars Base 1. We have families here, including children. Give us more time to evacuate them safely. Yeltar laughed. 5 minutes. That is all. On Mars, Commander Lee watched the alien ships through his command center's windows. They were huge and dark, covered with weapon ports that glowed with threatening energy. His own defense ships were tiny compared to them. Sir, said his communications officer, Lieutenant Hai Young Park, we have children in the deep shelters. They cannot reach the evacuation ships in 5 minutes. I know, Commander Lee said quietly. He pressed a button on his control panel. Activate Protocol 7. The base's computers began working automatically. Secret systems that had been hidden for years came online. Deep underground, machines that looked like mining equipment started doing something very different. When the 5 minutes ended, Yeltar gave the order to fire. Bright energy beams shot out from his ships and hit Mars Base 1. The buildings exploded in huge balls of fire. The attack continued for 10 minutes until nothing was left but smoke and rubble. Mars Base 1 has been destroyed, Yeltar reported to Admiral Vextar. All human resistance eliminated. But something was wrong with the sensor readings. The explosions had been too big, too bright. The base should not have had that much energy stored in it, and the radiation patterns were strange, not matching Coalition weapon signatures. Captain So Young-an was watching the attack from her stealth ship hidden behind one of Mars' moons. Her vessel was coated with special materials that made it invisible to most sensors. She recorded everything the aliens did. Navigation, did you see those explosion patterns? She asked her science officer. Yes, Captain. Those were not normal building destructions. The humans were using some kind of enhanced explosives, much more powerful than their technology should allow. So Young frowned as she looked at the data. Something was not right about this attack. The Mars base had exploded too perfectly, too completely. It was almost like the humans had wanted to destroy everything themselves. Meanwhile, the Coalition fleet moved to their next target, the Jupiter research stations. These were smaller facilities where humans studied the giant planet's moons and atmosphere. Each station only had a few hundred people. The attack here went the same way. The aliens gave a short warning, then opened fire. The research stations exploded in bright flashes of light. But again, the explosion seemed too big for such small targets. Dr. Won-Sik Jung was the director of Jupiter Station 3. As the alien ships approached, he activated the same protocol that had been used on Mars. Hidden systems throughout the station began working. All personnel to the evacuation pods, he ordered. But there were no evacuation pods. Instead, his people were moving to heavily shielded areas deep inside the station. When the Coalition weapons hit the station, it exploded spectacularly. The aliens cheered, thinking they had destroyed another human outpost. They did not notice the small ships that quietly left the area after the explosion, carrying the station's survivors to safety. Back on Earth, the news channels showed footage of the attacks. People watched their colonies being destroyed, and many began to cry. It looked like humanity's expansion into space was ending in disaster. But in the secret command centers, military officers were smiling. Everything was going according to plan. Phase 2 is complete, reported Colonel Jae-sung Lim from his underground bunker. All outer colonies have successfully faked their destruction. Civilian populations have been moved to the hidden shelters as planned. Good, said Commander Hyun-woo Park. Now we wait for the aliens to get confident. Let them think we are beaten. Admiral Vextar was pleased with his easy victories. The human colonies had been destroyed without any real resistance. Their defense ships had not even tried to fight. Back. These humans are even weaker than our intelligence suggested, he told his staff. Begin Phase 2 of the assault. Attack their military shipyards and orbital defenses. Leave their planet defenseless. The coalition fleet regrouped and headed for Earth's orbital shipyards. These facilities built and repaired human spacecraft. Destroying them would cripple Earth's ability to build new ships. Commander Dong-hyun Kang was waiting with his small defense fleet. He had only 50 ships against the coalition's 500 attack vessels. The odds were hopeless. All ships, prepare for combat, he ordered. Remember, we fight for Earth and for all humanity. The battle began badly for the humans. Coalition. Energy weapons were powerful and accurate. Human ships exploded one after another, their hulls torn apart by alien firepower. It looked like a massacre, but Captain So Young-an, still watching from her hidden position, noticed something strange. The human ships were exploding before taking fatal damage. They were blowing up just moments after being hit, even when the damage should not have been enough to destroy them. Science officer, analyze those explosion patterns again, she ordered. Captain, I think the human ships are self-destructing. The explosion signatures match internal detonations, not external weapon hits. So Young's eyes went wide. They are faking their deaths. But why? On Earth, President Jin-ho Kim stood in his office watching the battle on the main screen. His military advisors looked worried, but Jin-ho remained calm. Sir, said General Kyung-min. Oh, we are losing ships faster than expected. Should we send reinforcements? No, Jin-ho said firmly. Stick to the plan. Let the aliens think they are winning. As the battle continued, more human ships appeared to be destroyed. Commander Dong-hyun Kang's flagship was one of the last to explode. The coalition forces cheered as the human commander appeared to die. But Dong-hyun was not dead. His ship had used a special device to fake its destruction while he and his crew escaped in a heavily shielded pod. They would hide in the asteroid belt until the real fighting began. Admiral Vextar was extremely pleased. The human defense fleet is completely destroyed. Their shipyards are burning. They have no way to build new ships or defend themselves. Should we demand their surrender now? Asked his weapons officer. Not yet, Vextar said with a cruel smile. I want them to suffer more first. Bomb a few of their cities. Show them what happens to species that resist us. The coalition fleet moved closer to Earth. They prepared to begin bombing the planet's surface. Millions of humans would die unless their leaders surrendered immediately. But as the alien ships approached Earth, something strange began to happen. The planet seemed to be shutting down. City lights went out one by one. Radio transmissions stopped. Even the orbital defense platforms went dark and quiet. What are they doing? Asked Commander Trill, looking at his sensors in confusion. It looks like they are powering down everything, said General Mortak. Perhaps they are preparing to surrender. Admiral Vextar nodded. Good. They have finally realized how hopeless their situation is. The aliens did not know that Earth was not powering down to surrender. The planet was actually redirecting all its energy to hidden systems that had been built in secret over many decades. Deep underground, Dr. Haijin Choi watched as massive machines came to life. These devices used technologies that the aliens had never seen before. Some could bend space and time. Others could manipulate gravity and energy in ways that should have been impossible. All primary systems are now online, she reported to the president. The gravitational field generators are at full power. The quantum tunneling arrays are ready. The stellar manipulation devices are standing by. And our hidden fleet? Jin-Ho asked. Admiral Chan-wook Nam reports that all ships are in position. The aliens still think they are looking at space debris and asteroids. They have no idea that our real defense fleet has been hiding in plain sight. Colonel Jae-Sung Lim monitored the alien fleet from his command center. Sir, they are moving into the final attack position. In 12 hours, they will begin bombing our cities. Perfect, Jin-Ho said with a cold smile. That gives us exactly the time we need. Begin Phase 3. Around the world, secret installations began to reveal themselves. What had looked like ordinary mountains opened up to show massive weapon systems inside. The moon itself began to change, its surface sliding away to reveal the largest gun ever built. The asteroid belt, which the aliens had flown through without worry, suddenly came alive. Thousands of objects that had looked like space rocks turned on their engines and revealed themselves to be camouflaged warships. Mars, which the aliens thought they had destroyed, began broadcasting again. The planet was not dead at all. The explosions had been. Admiral Vextar stared at his sensor displays in disbelief. The readings made no sense. Earth's moon was splitting apart like a giant flower opening its petals. Where he expected to see rock and dust, massive metal structures were emerging from inside. Report, he shouted at his sensor officer. Sir, the moon appears to be artificial, the officer said with terror in his voice. It's not a natural satellite at all. It's some kind of huge weapon platform. The moon continued to open, revealing the largest gun barrel anyone in the galaxy had ever seen. The weapon was so big that small ships could fly inside it. Energy was building up deep within the structure, creating a glow that could be seen from millions of kilometers away. Impossible, whispered Commander Trill. No species has the technology to build something like that. It would take thousands of years. But that was just the beginning. The asteroid belt, which the Coalition fleet had flown through peacefully just hours before, was coming alive. Thousands of space rocks were revealing themselves to be something completely different. Captain So Young-an watched from her hidden position as the asteroids began to move. Their outer shells cracked open like eggs, showing the warships hidden inside. Each ship was bigger than anything in the Coalition fleet. They had been disguised so perfectly that no sensor could have detected them. My God, she whispered. How long have they been preparing for this? The answer was longer than anyone could have imagined. For 4 centuries, ever since humans first detected alien radio signals, they had been building for this day. Every space mission, every mining operation, every exploration of their solar system had been part of a massive construction project. On Earth, Dr. Hee-Jin Choi smiled as her life's work finally revealed itself. Admiral Nam, you may begin the demonstration. Admiral Chan-wook Nam had been waiting for this moment for 20 years. His flagship, disguised as a large asteroid, shed its rocky outer shell and appeared in all its deadly glory. The ship was 5 times larger than Admiral Vextar's vessel, and covered with weapons that glowed with barely controlled energy. This is Admiral Nam of the Earth Defense Force, he broadcast to the Coalition fleet. You came to our home to show us your strength. Now we will show you ours. All around the solar system, human ships were revealing themselves. They had been hidden everywhere, disguised as moons, asteroids, space stations, even pieces of space. Debris. The Coalition had flown right into the middle of the largest military trap in galactic history. Admiral Vextar tried to count the human ships, but gave up after reaching 1,000. There were too many to count, and more were appearing, every minute. His fleet of 10,000 ships suddenly seemed very small. This cannot be real, he said to himself. The humans are primitive. They barely have faster-than-light travel. Dr. Young-Soo Bae, monitoring from his command bunker deep in the Himalayas, laughed when he heard that transmission. Primitive? Let us show you how primitive we are. He activated the Kraken Protocol, humanity's most closely guarded secret. Around Earth, invisible machines began to work. These devices could manipulate matter and energy at the quantum level, bending the laws of physics to humanity's will. The first sign that something was wrong came when the Coalition's sensors started showing impossible readings. Space itself seemed to be changing around Earth. Gravity was flowing in directions that should not exist. Time was moving at different speeds in different areas. Navigation, are you seeing this? Admiral Vextar asked his bridge crew. Sir, our instruments show that space-time is being artificially altered. Someone is controlling gravity and electromagnetic fields on a massive scale. Vextar's blood ran cold. Only the most advanced civilizations in the galaxy had even theoretical knowledge of such technologies. If humans could control space-time itself, then they were far more dangerous than anyone had realized. The demonstration began with a single shot from the moon's massive cannon. The projectile was not explosive or energy-based. It was simply a piece of metal, but it was moving at 30% of the speed of light. The kinetic energy was devastating. When it hit the Coalition's lead battleship, the vessel simply disintegrated. One moment it was there, the next it was an expanding cloud of vaporized metal. The ship's shields, which could stop any known weapon, might as well have been made of paper. Evasive maneuvers, Vextar screamed. All ships scatter. But there was nowhere to run. The asteroid belt had come alive with thousands of human warships, each one targeting Coalition vessels with weapons that should not have existed. Railguns fired solid projectiles at incredible speeds. Particle beams tore through shields like they were not there. Gravity weapons created tiny black holes that sucked enemy ships into oblivion. Commander Yeltar, who had led the attack on Mars, found his ship caught in a gravity well that appeared from nowhere. His engines could not break free from the artificial, gravitational field. How are they doing this? He asked his science officer. Sir, they appear to have learned to create and control gravitational singularities. This is technology that most species consider impossible. Yeltar's ship was pulled helplessly toward one of the disguised human vessels. As he got closer, he could see that the enemy ship was covered with weapons he did not recognize. Strange. Energy patterns danced across its hull. The human ship did not fire immediately. Instead, a message appeared on Yeltar's communication screen. It was from Captain Yoon-ji Kim of the Earth Defense Force. Commander Yeltar, she said calmly. You destroyed Mars Base 1 this morning. 50,000 humans called that place home. They had children and families there. Your people escaped, Yeltar said desperately. The base was evacuated before we fired. I know, Captain Kim replied. But you did not know that when you attacked. You thought you were murdering innocent families. That tells us everything. We need to know about your character. Yeltar's ship shook as tractor beams locked onto it. He was being pulled inside the human vessel's docking bay. What are you going to do to us? You will be treated fairly and according to the laws of war, Captain Kim said. Unlike how you would have treated us. All across the solar system, the same scene was playing out. Coalition ships found themselves outmatched by human technology they could not understand or fight against. Some tried to surrender immediately. Others attempted to flee, but found their ships disabled by weapons that attacked their engines directly. General Mortak's rock-like species was known for being tough and stubborn in battle, but even he recognized hopeless odds when he saw them. His entire squadron was surrounded by human ships that seemed to appear and disappear at will. How are they moving like that? His tactical officer asked. I think they are using some form of dimensional shifting, Mortak said quietly. They can step outside normal space and reappear wherever they want. The human ships were indeed using technology that bent space-time to their advantage. They could travel short distances instantly by folding space around themselves. To the aliens, it looked like magic. Lieutenant Min-Soo Park was piloting one of the human fighters that seemed to teleport around the battlefield. His small ship could appear inside enemy formations, fire its weapons, and vanish before the aliens could respond. This is almost too easy, he said to his wingman, flight leader Yejin Choi. Their weapons can't track us when we quantum tunnel. Don't get overconfident, Yejin replied. Remember, we want to capture their ships intact if possible. We need to study their technology. The battle was not really a battle at all. It was a demonstration of such overwhelming technological superiority that resistance became pointless. The coalition forces had expected to fight primitive humans with chemical rockets and metal bullets. Instead, they faced weapons that violated everything they knew about physics. Dr. Taimin Yoon watched the engagement from his laboratory under the Swiss mountains. The gravitational field generators he had built were working perfectly. Enemy ships were being caught in artificial gravity wells and pulled wherever the humans wanted them to go. Phase 1 of the counterattack is complete, he reported to Dr. Choi. All enemy vessels in the inner system have been neutralized. No, coalition ships destroyed as ordered. That was the most terrifying part for Admiral Vextar. The humans were not trying to kill his people. They were capturing them alive, which meant they were confident enough in their victory to show mercy. Only a vastly superior force could afford to be so generous with defeated enemies. Status report, Vextar demanded from his bridge crew. Sir, we have lost contact with 8,000 ships. They are not destroyed. They are being held by human tractor beams and gravity fields. The humans are taking prisoners. Vextar felt sick. His grand invasion fleet had been defeated in less than 4 hours. Most of his ships were captured, and the rest were trapped in the outer solar system with nowhere to run. But the worst revelation was yet to come. President Jin Ho Kim appeared on every coalition communication channel at the same time. His message was broadcast in every alien language simultaneously. People of the Galactic Coalition, he said in a calm, friendly voice, we know this comes as a shock to you. You were told that humans were weak and primitive. You were told that we would be easy to conquer. The president smiled slightly. As you can see, you were given incorrect information. We have been preparing for your arrival. The coalition's worst fears became reality when human ships began appearing throughout their territory. Not just near Earth, but everywhere. Ships materialized above every major coalition world simultaneously, as if humans had been planning these strikes for decades. General Kyung-ho Park commanded the human task force that appeared above the Saurian homeworld. His mobile command station existed partially outside normal space, using dimensional folding technology that made it nearly impossible to target. From this impossible vessel, he coordinated attacks across half the galaxy. All task forces report ready, General, said his communications officer, Lieutenant Soo-min Lim. Begin Phase 4, General Park ordered. Show them what humans can do when we stop playing defense. On the Saurian homeworld, citizens looked up at the sky in terror as massive human ships appeared from nowhere. The vessels were larger than anything the Saurians had ever built, and they moved in ways that seemed to break the laws of physics. The planetary defense systems opened fire immediately, launching thousands of missiles and energy beams at the human fleet. The weapons should have been enough to destroy any attacking force. Instead, they simply passed through the human ships as if they were not really there. Sir, called out General Karthak, the Saurian defense commander, our weapons are having no effect. The human ships were using phase-shifting technology that allowed them to exist in multiple dimensions at once. They could become solid to fire their own weapons, then shift back to an intangible state to avoid return fire. Dr. Won-ho Lee had spent 30 years developing this technology in secret laboratories, hidden throughout the solar system. His dimensional phase generators allowed human ships to step partially outside reality, making them nearly invulnerable to conventional weapons. Admiral Chan Wook Nam's flagship materialized fully into normal space above the Saurian capital city. The ship was so large that it blocked out the sun for hundreds of square kilometers below. Citizens ran in panic through the streets. This is Admiral Nam of the Earth Defense Force, he broadcast to the planet. We are not here to harm your civilian population, but your government sent a fleet to destroy our world and kill our people. That cannot go unanswered. The response came from Supreme Commander Vexcall, Admiral Vextar's father and leader of the Saurian military. His voice was full of rage and disbelief. Impossible, you are just primitive mammals. We have ruled space for 10,000 years. 10,000 years, Admiral Nam repeated thoughtfully. That is a long time to become comfortable with being the strongest species in the galaxy. Comfort makes people careless. To prove his point, Admiral Nam activated one of his ship's defensive systems. A gravitational field spread out from the vessel, gently but irresistibly pulling every Saurian military ship on the planet up into space. The alien vessels struggled against the artificial gravity but could not break free. Within minutes, the entire Saurian defense fleet was floating helplessly around Admiral Nam's ship like tiny toys. Their crews were unharmed but completely powerless. "How?" Supreme Commander Vexcol whispered. "We learned to make gravity work for us instead of against us," Admiral Nam explained. "Your species spent thousands of years building bigger guns and stronger armor. We spent our time learning to control the fundamental forces of the universe." The same scene was playing out on coalition worlds throughout the galaxy. Human fleets appeared without warning, disabled local defenses with impossible ease, and took control of orbital space around each planet. Captain Yoonji Kim led the assault on the Trill Homeworld, a water planet covered with floating cities. The blue-skinned Trill were master engineers who had built their cities to withstand any natural disaster. But they had not planned for human technology. "Captain," said her science officer, "the Trill cities are protected by energy shields that extend deep underwater. Our sensors show defensive platforms hidden throughout their ocean." "Understood," Captain Kim replied. "Launch the quantum disruptors." The quantum disruptors were devices that could alter the basic properties of matter at the subatomic level. When they activated, the Trill energy shields simply stopped working. The alien technology had not been destroyed. It had been convinced that it was supposed to be turned off. Lieutenant Min-Soo Park piloted his fighter through the Trill city's defenses, which parted before him like curtains. His ship's quantum field allowed him to pass through solid matter when needed, making him effectively unstoppable. "This is Flight Leader Park," he reported. "All city shield generators are now under our control. The Trill defense fleet is requesting permission to surrender." Captain Kim nodded. "Granted. Treat them with respect. They are not our real enemies." Meanwhile, Flight Leader Yejin Choi was leading her squadron against the massive shipyards orbiting the Mortok homeworld. The rock-like Mortok people built the largest ships in the coalition, vessels so huge they were more like mobile space stations. The Mortok shipyards were protected by hundreds of automated defense platforms, each one larger than a human cruiser. These platforms opened fire as soon as the human ships appeared, filling space with deadly energy beams. But Yejin's fighters moved through the weapons fire like ghosts. They used micro-wormholes to teleport short distances, appearing and disappearing faster than the alien targeting systems could track. "Target the construction facilities," she ordered her pilots. "Disable, don't destroy. We want those ships intact." The human fighters fired specialized weapons that overloaded electronic systems without causing explosions. One by one, the massive Mortok shipyards went dark and quiet. Dozens of partially built warships were captured without a shot being fired at them. General Mortok himself watched from his homeworld as his entire military construction program was shut down in less than an hour. The humans had taken control of projects that had been decades in the making. "Sir," his aide said quietly, "they are not destroying anything. They are taking it all intact." "I know," General Mortok replied. "They plan to study our technology, but I think they are also sending us a message." The message was clear. Humans could have destroyed everything if they wanted to, but they chose not to. This was not conquest. It was a demonstration of superiority so complete that violence was unnecessary. On Earth, President Jin Ho Kim watched reports from battles across the galaxy. Every human task force was reporting the same thing: total success with minimal casualties on both sides. "Sir," said his military advisor, General Yu Jin. "Oh, all primary objectives have been achieved. Coalition military forces throughout their territory have been neutralized. We control orbital space around every major world." "Casualties?" President Kim asked. "Remarkably light. Fewer than 1,000 coalition military personnel have been seriously injured. Most of their forces surrendered once they realized resistance was hopeless." President Kim nodded with satisfaction. The plan was working perfectly. Humanity had demonstrated overwhelming superiority while showing mercy to their enemies. This would make rebuilding relationships much easier later, but the most impressive demonstration was yet to come. Dr. Young-Soo Bae had been saving his greatest creation For last, the Stellar Manipulation Array. Deep in space between Earth and Mars, hidden machines had been working for decades to build a device that could control the power of the sun itself. The project had required resources from across the entire solar system and technology that pushed the boundaries of what was possible. Dr. Bay, came the voice of President Kim over the communication system. You may begin the final demonstration. Dr. Bay smiled as he activated systems that no other species in the galaxy possessed. Solar collection arrays online, gravitational focusing lenses deployed, stellar energy redirection system ready. The sun flickered. For a moment, every being in the solar system thought they were witnessing their star going nova. Coalition prisoners. Uncaptured ships stared in terror as the sun's light seemed to dim and pulse. Then they realized what was actually happening. The humans were not letting the sun die. They were controlling it. Massive, invisible machines were redirecting the star's energy, focusing it into a beam that could be aimed anywhere in the galaxy. Admiral Vextar, imprisoned aboard a human ship, watched in horrified fascination as his captors demonstrated the ultimate weapon. A focused beam of stellar energy, invisible but detectable by its gravitational effects, reached out across space toward an uninhabited star system 50 light-years away. When the beam hit an empty planet in that distant system, the world simply vanished, not destroyed by explosion but completely disintegrated by energy so intense that its atoms were torn apart and scattered into space. Dear gods, Vextar whispered. They can weaponize entire stars. Captain So Young-an, who had been monitoring the battle from the beginning, felt her knees go weak. They could have done this at any time. They could have destroyed our entire fleet just by pointing their sun at us. The implications were staggering. Humanity had not just defeated the coalition, they had revealed technology that made them the most powerful force in the known galaxy. Any species that could control stellar energy could destroy entire worlds from anywhere in space. Dr. Hee-jin Choi watched the demonstrations from her command center and felt a mixture of pride and sadness. They had spent centuries preparing for war, building weapons that could. 3 days after the coalition's defeat, President Seo Jun-yang stood before the assembled leaders of 12 alien species. The meeting was held aboard Admiral Nam's flagship, now serving as a neutral diplomatic vessel orbiting the Saurian homeworld. The alien leaders sat in a circle, their different forms creating a strange but historic gathering. Admiral Vextar was there, no longer wearing his military uniform. Supreme Commander Vexkol sat beside his son, his proud demeanor replaced by quiet acceptance. General Mortak's rocky features showed deep thought, while Commander Trill's blue skin had turned a pale shade that indicated stress in his species. Leaders of the coalition, President Yang began, his voice calm but firm. We are here to discuss the future. Your military forces have been defeated. Your weapons have been taken. Your ships are under our control. The question now is, what comes next? Admiral Vextar found the courage to speak first. You have won a great victory, human. But victories do not last forever. Eventually, your enemies will find ways to defeat your new weapons. President Yang smiled slightly. Admiral, you still do not understand. This was not about weapons. He gestured to a large screen that appeared in the center of the room. Images began to show. Star charts, historical records, and communication logs dating back centuries. 400 years ago, President Yang explained, we detected your first radio transmissions. We knew intelligent life existed beyond our world. From that moment, we began preparing. Supreme Commander Vexkol's eyes widened. 400 years? But that was before your species achieved spaceflight. Exactly, President Yang replied. We spent 4 centuries getting ready for this day. Every space mission, every colony ship, every mining operation was part of a massive construction project. We built our defenses slowly and carefully, making sure no one would notice until it was too late. Dr. Sang-Min Ko, the xenoarchaeologist, stepped forward with another presentation. The screen now showed detailed intelligence reports about every coalition world, including military bases, population centers, and technological capabilities. "We have been watching you for longer than you realize," Dr. Ko said. "Every radio signal you broadcast, every ship you launched, every war you fought, we recorded it all. By the time your invasion fleet reached Earth, we knew more about your civilizations than you knew about ours." General Mortok shifted uncomfortably. "You spied on us for centuries while pretending to be primitive." "We protected ourselves," President Yang corrected. "Your own history shows what happens to young species that reveal their capabilities too early. They are conquered or destroyed by older civilizations who see them as threats." Commander Trill looked confused. "But why reveal your power now? You could have remained hidden." "Because hiding was no longer possible," President Yang explained. "Your coalition had decided that humanity needed to be controlled. You gave us no choice but to defend ourselves." The screen changed to show footage from the recent battles. Coalition, ships being captured intact, alien crews being treated well as prisoners, civilian populations left unharmed during the swift military campaigns. "But you did not destroy us when you could have," observed a new voice. It belonged to Counselor Zephia of the Ethereal Collective, a species of energy beings who rarely involved themselves in physical conflicts. "Your stellar manipulation weapon could have sterilized our worlds, but you chose restraint." President Yang nodded. "Because destruction was never our goal. We want peace, not conquest. We want cooperation, not submission." Admiral Jihoon entered the meeting room carrying datapads with detailed reports. As the human commander responsible for the Saurian homeworld's occupation, he had spent the last 3 days ensuring that civilian life continued normally, despite the military defeat. "Admiral Vextar," he said formally. "I have your casualty. Reports." Vextar braced himself for terrible news. "How many of my people did we lose?" "Military casualties. 43 injured, none killed. All injured personnel are receiving full medical treatment and are expected to recover completely." The silence in the room was profound. A military campaign that had defeated 12 civilizations had resulted in fewer than 50 injuries and 0 deaths. "This is impossible," whispered General Mortok. "No war ends with so little bloodshed." "This was not a war," President Yang corrected. "This was a lesson. We wanted to show you our capabilities without unnecessary violence. Every weapon we used was designed to disable, not destroy. Every tactic we employed was meant to capture, not kill." Dr. Hai-Jin Choi joined the meeting via hologram from her laboratory on Earth. As the chief architect of humanity's defensive preparations, she had a message for the assembled alien leaders. "For 4 centuries, we prepared for the day when we would have to fight for our survival," she said. "We built weapons that could shatter worlds and devices that could control the power of stars. But we also built something more important." "What?" asked Counselor Zephia. "Hope," Dr. Choi replied. "Hope that when this day came, we would be strong enough to win without becoming monsters. Hope that victory would lead to peace, not to revenge." The alien leaders looked at each other uncertainly. They had expected conquest, slavery, or death. Instead, they were being offered something they did not understand. President Yang stood up and activated another holographic display. This one showed plans for new institutions, joint research centers, combined exploration fleets, and shared defensive networks. "We propose the formation of a new galactic council," he announced. "Not a coalition based on conquest and intimidation, but a true alliance based on cooperation and mutual respect." "You want us as partners?" asked Commander Trill in disbelief. "After we tried to destroy you?" "You followed orders from leaders who made poor decisions based on incomplete information," President Yang replied. "Your species are not inherently evil. You are simply trapped in a system that encourages aggression and competition." Supreme Commander Vexkol found his voice. "And if we refuse this offer, what then?" President Yang's expression became serious. "Then you will remain under human protection until your governments change their policies. We will not allow any species to threaten others with conquest or genocide. That age is ending." Admiral Vextar understood the implications. You are not conquering us. You are reforming us. We are offering you a chance to evolve beyond warfare and domination, President Yang said. Every species in this room has the potential to contribute something valuable to galactic civilization, but only if you stop trying to conquer each other. The meeting continued for hours as the details were worked out. Human administrators would oversee the peaceful transition of coalition governments. Military forces would be restructured for defense and exploration rather than conquest. Most importantly, all species would contribute to shared scientific research that would benefit everyone. Captain Na Young Lim was already overseeing construction of the first joint research facility above the Trill Homeworld. Human and alien. Scientists were working together to develop peaceful applications for the advanced technologies that had won the war. The quantum tunneling systems that our fighters used for combat can also be used for instant communication across galactic distances, she explained to a group of Trill engineers. Imagine being able to talk to anyone in the galaxy without delays. The Trill scientists were fascinated. They had spent centuries trying to solve the problem of faster-than-light communication, and now the humans were offering to share the solution freely. 1 year later, Ambassador Heiwan Zheng stood before the first meeting of the new Galactic Council. Representatives from all the former coalition species were present, along with several new civilizations that had emerged from hiding once the age of conquest ended. 1 year ago, we were enemies preparing for war, she said to the assembled delegates. Today we are partners preparing for exploration. Together we have established colonies in 12 new star systems. Together we have made scientific discoveries that benefit all our peoples. Together we are building a future based on cooperation rather than conflict. The transformation had not been easy. Some coalition leaders had resisted the changes and had to be removed from power by their own people. A few military commanders had attempted rebellion and were now serving time in comfortable but secure facilities, while undergoing education about alternatives to warfare. But most of the former coalition species had embraced the new system enthusiastically. Once they saw the benefits, trade was flourishing, scientific research was advancing rapidly. New worlds were being explored by mixed crews of different species working together. Admiral Vextar, now serving as military advisor to the new Saurian democratic government, often met with Admiral Ji Hoon-oh to discuss defensive strategies for the expanding alliance. I still cannot believe how completely you defeated us, Vextar admitted during one of their regular meetings. We had no idea that any species could become so powerful. Power was never the point, Admiral O replied. The point was survival. We became powerful because we had to, not because we wanted to. And now, Admiral O looked out at the construction yards where human and alien workers were building the first truly integrated starships. Now we use that power to make sure no one else has to go through what we went through. No more invasion fleets, no more conquest campaigns.